Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel, where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. And today we are talking about a property tax credit that you want to be aware of before you purchase a home here in the state of Maryland. It's called the Maryland Homestead Tax Credit. Now, the great thing about this tax credit, it doesn't matter how much you make, doesn't really matter about the property type or anything like that. As long as you are going to live in the property and as long as the property is within the state of Maryland, you can apply for this tax credit and you can start receiving the benefit of it shortly after you move into the home. So a couple things that I want to make people aware of what it takes to qualify for this tax credit. So the first thing, as I just mentioned, is it's got to be your primary residence. So this is not going to be an applicable tax credit for someone who's going to purchase a home as an investment property, as a second home. It's got to be a property that you are going to own or occupy. And the easiest way to think about that is, you know, what's on your ID or what property are you using when you file your income taxes. So as long as it's going to be something that you live in and occupy, this is going to be something that you want to apply for. A great thing about this tax credit is it doesn't cost any money. It's a one-time application, and as long as you stay in that property, you will not have to reapply or anything. So you just get, apply for it that one time, and you'll be able to continue to reap the benefits of the homestead tax credit for as long as you occupy the property. The other thing that you need to make sure that you are aware of is you've got to be on record. You got to be owner of record. So in the state of Maryland, when you close on a property, ownership transfers right at the table. So as soon as both parties sign, ownership transfers. We do not have a waiting period for recording in the state of Maryland. So the recording is going to happen usually within 21 to 30 days. I always think about it like 3 to 4 weeks. So 21 to 30 days typically is when recording is going to happen, and you are going to be reflected as the owner on public record. Once that happens, you can go ahead and apply for the tax credit as long as you meet the final criteria, which is you have to have that property address reflected on your identification, on your driver's license. So, it's Maryland's DMV, it's called the MVA. So as long as you switch your address with MVA, you can either go in person to one of the offices, or I've always done it online. It's been a while since I've moved and done this personally, but I remember doing it right online, and it was pretty simple and it was nice. Didn't have to deal with the long lines or doing anything like that. So as long as you do those three things, as long as you own or occupy the property, as long as you are the owner of record, and that's going to take 21 to 30 days post-closing, and as long as you have the address reflected through MVA for your driver's license, then you're going to be good to go, and you can go ahead and apply for this tax credit. Now, the important thing about this tax credit is you don't have to, but in a perfect world, you really want to apply for this tax credit prior to May 1st of the given year. So as long as you do that, you can inherit any homestead tax credit that the current owner has received. So it's not something that has to necessarily start over when ownership transfers. Now, if you have to apply for it after May 1st, given to the time that you close in the year or anything like that, then there may be a little bit of a loss of the, if there's an existing tax credit. Now, the other thing, I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's a surprisingly low percentage of Maryland residents that really take advantage of this tax credit. So this is something as a realtor myself, this is part of my follow-up process with buyers, is to ensure that they have all the information 30 days after closing to go ahead and apply for that. So with all that being said, it's something that is very important. We're going to jump into a little more details, but within 30 days post-closing, just make sure that you apply for this tax credit to make sure that you are taking full advantage. All right, and next, just wanted to explain the type of savings that you actually get from applying for this tax credit. So it's not necessarily a credit per se each and every year of owning a home, but what it does is it sets a cap on how much that your property taxes can increase in a given year. And over the last few years, with all the inflation and property value that we've seen, really ever since we've been in an appreciating market, really ever since 2012 in the Maryland real estate market. That was kind of the bottom, and we've seen appreciation every year since. So it really helps so what it does is it caps the amount that your property taxes can go up as a percentage each year. So what the state of Maryland did is they stepped in and they said, okay, property values are traditionally going up each year. We are going to set at the state level, your taxes cannot go up over 10% each year. So they set a cap at the state level. Now it goes by county. So each county has to abide by that. But the good news is that at the county level, they set it lower than that. So most of our central Maryland counties, so you got Baltimore City and Baltimore County, that will not, they set their limit at 4%. So your property taxes as a property owner in Baltimore City and Baltimore County will not increase more than 4% year over year. You've got other counties in the area like Frederick and Howard that set that cap at 5%. So again, it's a little higher there. Anne Arundel, most of Anne Arundel County is actually 2%. So if you're looking to really, kind of go to a county that maybe has more advantages specifically to the homestead tax credit, Anne Arundel County is going to probably be the place to go. But you also want to look in the individual towns and cities as well, because for example, in Anne Arundel County, they set it at 2% at the county level, but Annapolis, for example, sets theirs at 10%. So if you live in Annapolis, you're not, Annapolis steps in and they allow it to be increased more than what it is anywhere else in the county. So it's important to look, at the county level, but also look for the individual areas within the county, because they could specify a higher amount based on the, the local municipality that you live in. All right, and lastly, just want to spend a couple minutes here. I'm going to pull up on the screen an actual property tax bill, and I'm going to walk you through what our property taxes look like here in Maryland, and an example of the homestead tax credit, on this particular tax bill, and what it looks like in form of savings. So let's go ahead and jump into that now, and we'll go through an itemization of this so you can see exactly what that looks like. All right, so we are looking at a property tax bill in Howard County. Now, other counties in the area, Anne Arundel County, Montgomery, Prince George's, Baltimore County, they're going to look fairly similar, but this is just for example purposes. So looking at this tax bill, we're looking at a taxable year of 2025. We've got an assessed value with the state and the county at $710,400. So you can see the first item here, we've got the ad valorem charge, which is a 0.08% tax rate. So that's coming out to the $568.32 per year. The biggest one, of course, is going to be the county tax. That is a percentage of the assessed value as well. So 1.044% in Howard County, that's coming out to $7,416.58. So that's going to be the biggest part there. And of course, in Howard County, I think it's upwards of 65 to 70% of the county tax goes to the schooling and everything, which is probably pretty common in Howard County, especially is known for its schools. So you got a big chunk of that going there to the Howard County schools. Next is your fire tax metro charge based on the assessed value of 0.206%, which is yielding that $1,463.42. And then we got the state of Maryland is going to step in and tax every property, regardless of the county. So you've got the 0.112% tax rate on the assessed value there from the state of Maryland, which is coming out to a little under $800. You've got the watershed protection. This is, I think, primarily going to Chesapeake protection, stormwater stuff. So that's going to be $225. That's a flat fee. So that's not charged on the assessed value. Then we've got the trash fee. So it's kind of nice. You don't have to, in most counties in Central Maryland, you are not having to hire like a waste management or a third party trash company yourself. This is going to be tied in through your property taxes. So it's just one less thing that you have to do, but it is collected through the tax bill. In Howard County, they provide you a recycle bin, you provide your own trash, but they have recycle and trash coming through once a week for each of those, as well as most of the year having a truck come by for any like leaves and like yard waste type of stuff. Now that's $391 paid once per year. That also gives you access to the county dump. Most counties in Central Maryland are going to have that as well, part of this fee. Now, when I first moved here 10 years, I think we were paying, $250 a year. So that's, just because it's not charged as a percentage of the taxable value doesn't mean it's not going to go up. I would expect those to continue to go up as well over time as we deal with, inflation. So you can see there that the total tax bill, when you add up all that, is $10,859.97. Now here's where you see the property homestead tax credit pop in. So they're giving those credits the nice part is it's not subject just to the county, it is subject to the state and the fire as well. So you can see the credits come off there, and they total almost $860, bringing reducing the tax bill down to just about $10,000. So You know, not an insane amount of money, but this is a tax credit that looks like from the research I was doing was applied for and approved 3 years ago. So, so the earlier the better. You know, the longer you have this, the more those savings are going to increase and show up each year. So it is important. You know, again, this is something I really encourage people to do immediately after you close. As soon as you are on owner of record within 30 days, you can apply for this, and that's the best way to attack this. So if you're staying in a home for 10, 15 years, these savings are going to be even more substantial. So this is an example of what it looks like on a real tax bill here within Central Maryland. All right, everyone, that is the Maryland Homestead Tax Credit explained. Hope it made sense. And if you ever have any real estate questions, please feel free to reach out however you are most comfortable. We'd love to have a conversation with you, and we will see you at the next video.